to join the Fever and something. What's special about this opportunity for you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm really excited. I had some stint there at Golden State and it was a great time. So yeah, went over, played with Australia, won a gold there and that was great. So just to be back in the W and have another crack is really exciting. Really grateful for this opportunity here with the Fever and just excited.
Just weeks after she lit them up with clutch three-pointers, the Indiana Fever made a surprising move, reaching out to a player who was all the way in China at the time. With Caitlin Clark sidelined by injury and the team's championship hopes slipping away, the Fever handed Chloe Bibby a high-stakes 7-day contract. But this wasn't just a last-minute attempt to plug a hole in the roster, it was a bold, strategic decision. A calculated risk that could quietly solve one of the team's biggest weaknesses. This signing has the potential to flip the script entirely. And the behind-the-scenes story of how it all came together? It's wilder than anyone imagined.
Big news, breaking news, Chloe Bibby, who was recently on the Golden State Valkyries, has been signed to the Indiana Fever. This is not a huge surprise to me. I have mentioned it in multiple videos. She was doing really well with the Valkyries. I think she was only with them for about 5 games, while a lot of their players went over to Eurobasket.
This story doesn't start in Indiana. It begins thousands of miles away, inside a hotel room in China. That's where Australian forward Chloe Bibby was navigating the unpredictable grind of overseas basketball when she received a call that would completely change the course of her season, and possibly her career.
The main thing I remember about Chloe was the fact that she could shoot, right? That's the main thing I remember about her. Watching her games with the Valkyries, if y'all don't remember that, she was on the Valkyries. I think she played for the preseason and she got signed again, then played like 5 games. She finished with like 42% shooting from the 3. So she could hit, man. She could really hit.
Chloe Bibby, the newest member of the Indiana Fever, her fit and whether she's a long-term fit for the Fever remains to be seen. But on the surface, on paper, it makes a lot of sense. Because this is a team that has been in dire need of, in my opinion, of a stretch 4. And that is what Bibby, skill set wise, is capable of doing. We don't have a huge sample size to work with. Obviously, she had a short spurt with the Valkyrie.
One moment, she was balancing life overseas, adjusting to new cultures, time zones, and a completely different rhythm. The next, she was called up to join the most talked about, most heavily scrutinized team in the WNBA. There was no time to think it through, no chance to go home to Australia or even properly pack. She dropped everything, booked the next flight out, and started the exhausting journey back to the US. The whole thing happened in a flash, a jet-lagged blur of airport terminals and adrenaline. That kind of sacrifice, that level of urgency for just a 7-day shot? It's almost unheard of. It speaks volumes about her hunger, her grit, and exactly the kind of fire the Fever have been missing. But this wasn't some random pickup to plug a hole in the roster. Indiana knew exactly what she could do, because they'd seen it firsthand, and it had burned them.
But I remember specifically her shooting. She was shooting that thing, man. She was stretching the floor, and the Indiana Fever needs that. They need somebody that can help stretch that floor, make it more dangerous at that perimeter, make the defense respect that perimeter just as much as they respect the paint presence, right? So she can help with that.
There were a lot of fans where the Fever are too slow. They want to play slow it down, grind it out basketball. Doesn't seem that way. Doesn't seem that way by the player they just signed and the messaging that is going across there. So that has to be reassuring for a lot of the fans. And Chloe Bibby seems to have a good head on her shoulders, a good
Just a few short weeks before that career-defining phone call, Chloe Bibby gave the Indiana Fever a tryout. And she didn't even know it. Wearing a Golden State Valkyries jersey on a short-term hardship deal, she stepped onto the hardwood and faced off against the very squad that would soon call her one of their own. And she lit them up. In just 24 minutes, she poured in 12 points, nailed clutch 3-pointers, and carried herself with the kind of quiet confidence you only see in battle-tested veterans. What the Fever saw wasn't just an opponent, they saw a solution. Live. In action. While they were struggling with inconsistency and spacing, she was showing them what they were missing. Her fearless shot-making, her poise under pressure. It was the exact weapon Indiana had been searching for. She may have been wearing a different uniform, but in that moment, she was auditioning for the role of a savior. And whether she realized it or not, she passed with flying colors.
Brianna Turner is over there collecting dust. We need somebody off the bench that can come in with some size and rain threes until Damaris Dantas' shot begins to fall, and we go out and we get one. Chloe Bibby. Last time we saw Chloe Bibby, she dropped 12 points against the Indiana Fever. Wait for it, in her WNBA debut. She shoots over 40% from the field. She shoots over 40% from three.
With all these Wave players, I kept saying there was one player that the Indiana Fever needed to sign, and today it happened. That's right, the Indiana Fever have officially signed Chloe Bibby. She showed up and showed out with all the teams that she was with in the preseason, especially with the Valkyries, and I kept saying she could spread the floor, she makes the three. She would be a perfect pickup for the Indiana Fever, except they took forever to sign her, so I was like, maybe they're not gonna sign her.
Indiana Fever's offense has had one glaring weakness all season. A flaw that opposing teams have been exploiting with ruthless precision, with Aliyah Boston holding it down in the paint. Defenses have been stacking the interior, daring the Fever to beat them from the outside. The result? A clogged defense, predictable sets, and suffocating pressure on Caitlin Clark to do it all. What they've desperately needed is a true stretch four, someone who can space the floor and force defenders to step out of the paint. That's where Chloe Bibby changes everything. In her short run with the Valkyries, Chloe knocked down threes at a stunning 42.1% clip, not just solid, but elite. That kind of accuracy forces opponents to respect the perimeter, which opens up the floor for Boston to dominate inside and gives Clark the lanes she thrives in. It's not just about the numbers, though hers are impressive even in limited minutes. What makes this signing a potential turning point is what BBY was doing long before the WNBA spotlight found her. The real story of her impact lies in the years she spent grinding overseas, refining her game away from the cameras.
Where were you when you got the news or got the call that the Fever were picking you up?
I was in China.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So how quickly were you, like, is it just scramble mode then coming over to the States, like pack a bag and go?
Well, yeah, I was already in, so I went from San Francisco to China, and so then I didn't really get to go back to Australia. So just from China, I was like, well, I already have some stuff back, so then just come back over here, back to America. So yeah, it was good. It all happened pretty fast, but as I said, super great.
Before rejoining the WNBA, Chloe Bibby was quietly establishing herself as a dominant force internationally. While many fans in the US may not have been familiar with her name, she was turning heads across Europe. In Poland's top-tier league with Goraw Wyborski, she wasn't just contributing, she was the standout star. BBY earned league MVP honors while averaging an impressive 20.9 points and 5.9 rebounds per game. But her dominance didn't stop there. In the highly competitive Euro Cup, where Europe's elite clash, she elevated her game even further, dropping 22 points, grabbing 7.7 rebounds, and swiping 2.2 steals per contest. These weren't just good numbers. They were elite, the kind you expect from the centerpiece of a championship team. Chloe wasn't simply holding out for another shot at the WNBA, she was sharpening her skills, proving she could be a franchise player on any stage. But success overseas is only part of the story. Now, she's joining a squad led by a global phenomenon in Caitlin Clark, and that comes with a whole different set of challenges. Chemistry, ego, fit, it's all about to be tested. And that's where things get really interesting.
Well, yeah, I was already in, so I went from San Francisco to China, and so then I didn't really get to go back to Australia. So just from China, I was like, well, I already have some stuff back, so then just come back over here, back to America. So yeah, it was good. It all happened pretty fast, but as I said, super grateful for the opportunity.
Does it still feel chaotic now that you've been with the team for a day, or do you feel like a little settled now?
I feel a little bit settled. I have had a lot of sleep, which is great. So I think I've got over the jet lag a little bit. So feeling good.
You had the chance to go and play against this Fever team.
Yeah.
What kind of your impressions then, and how do you feel like you can fit into what they do?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, really physical team, tough, fast-paced, and I like that fast, style. So I think that shoots
This move comes at a time of major uncertainty and growing speculation inside the Indiana Fever organization. With Caitlin Clark sidelined by a lingering groin injury, the team suddenly finds itself without its flawed general and biggest defensive weapon. The pressure is sky high, and the cracks are starting to show. Meanwhile, veteran forward Brianna Turner, once an all-star, has been mysteriously riding the bench. Her absence from the rotation has only fueled more questions about what's really going on behind the scenes. Is it a coaching decision? A chemistry issue? No one's saying much, but fans and insiders are starting to notice. Into this volatile mix steps Chloe Bibby, brought in on a short-term, 7-day hardship deal. On paper, it's a temporary fix. But in reality, it could be much more. Is she just here to plug a hole until Clark returns? Or is this a high-risk, high-reward audition for a permanent role, one that might force the front office to make some tough decisions about the current roster? With the stakes this high, every minute BBY spends on the court will be watched closely. Every shot, every rotation, every mistake, it all counts. But head coach Stephanie White isn't planning to just throw her out there and hope for the best. Behind the scenes, there's a clear and calculated strategy, and it's simpler than you'd think.
I mean, it's a challenge always, anytime you're integrating, but I think at the position that she'll play for us, really being somebody that's in that stretch four, middle of the floor, there's not a lot of nuance to how we'll use her. We'll shorten the playbook a little bit, make it specific to ways that we can continue to stretch the floor when we put her on the floor where they be.
Today you had a rare practice.
So, that is pretty straightforward and simple from head coach Stephanie White. When you hear her say she'll fit in next to AB, which means it seems like the plan for Bibby is to play in Aaliyah Boston minutes, where of course Aaliyah Boston is playing a lot.
This wasn't a last-minute scramble or a desperate roster plug. According to head coach Stephanie White, there was a clear and strategic plan behind Chloe BBY's arrival. Rather than overwhelming her with an entire playbook, the coaching staff made a smart, streamlined decision. Simplify everything and focus on her strengths. Coach White explained to the media that BBY's responsibilities would be sharply defined, no need to learn the entire system overnight. Her job? Space the floor, knock down perimeter shots, and complement Aaliyah Boston in the front court. That's it. No reinvention. No overload. Just execution. BY narrowing her role to exactly what she excels at. The Fever coaching staff made it clear. They know their biggest on-court gap, and they found a player who fits that need perfectly. It's a coaching move that balances simplicity with precision, aiming for instant impact without unnecessary risk. But while a streamlined plan can help win a few games, true contenders need something deeper. They need connection. And in this case, BBY and the Fever already share a hidden layer of history that might just give them an unexpected edge.
Because I truly didn't see who could fit the Indiana Fever system that was available that hasn't already been taken by other teams. It did end up being kind of like the obvious answer, which is Chloe Bibby, who again, I think is a good signing. I don't think is going to change the landscape of the Indiana Fever basketball. I do like that she's young. I do like that she has young legs. I love that she does fit into a more modern style of basketball, 6 foot, plays outside of the arc. So I am very, 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 very curious to see how she does fit in.
What makes this new union between Caitlin Clark and Chloe BBY even more intriguing is the shared past that most fans have forgotten. Long before they wore the same jersey, the two were intense adversaries in one of college basketball's most competitive conferences, the Big Ten. Clark, leading her Iowa Hawkeyes, and BBY, anchoring the Maryland Terrapins, clashed in high-pressure matchups filled with physical play, elite shot-making, and playoff-level intensity. They weren't just opponents. They were headline rivals, each determined to outduel the other under the bright lights and roaring crowds. That history of battle-tested respect adds a compelling twist to their new partnership. BBY doesn't approach Clark as an untouchable superstar. She knows her game inside and out. She's faced it, challenged it, and now, she joins it. From heated college showdowns to joining forces on the WNBA stage, their journey has come full circle. Two relentless competitors who once fought against each other are now chasing the same dream, bringing a championship to Indiana.
A lot of people are already speculating this is because of the Caitlin Clark injury. However, remember, after the All-Star break, they do have some more cap space, so they could sign her to a rest of the year contract. I'm guessing what's happening is, one, when she was cut from the Valkyries after her hardship contract, but had some really good games and showed some really good positive things that any team would want. I'm actually surprised she hasn't gotten picked up. So my guess is that they think they want to sign her for the rest of the year. Whether that means Caitlin's out or they just want a 12th person. They're using this 7-day contract as a test to see how she does. They've got a couple of games coming up. We know Caitlin's out, at least she was out last night, probably still out for the weekend. We don't know a timeline on her return.
While college rivalries and personal stats can tell part of a player's story, they don't define what it means to have a championship mindset. That's something deeper, something earned through experience at the highest levels of competition. And that's exactly where Chloe BBY stands apart from the crowd. Over the years, BBY has been a cornerstone of the Australian national squad, the opals, representing her country under immense global pressure. She's not just been present on the international stage, she's been clutch. Helping Australia secure a gold medal in the FIBA Women's Asia Cup and adding a bronze from the World Cup, BBY has proven she can deliver when the stakes couldn't be higher. This goes beyond putting up big numbers. It's about performing when everything's on the line, when every possession matters and every mistake can end your season. BBY knows what it takes to win in those moments, and that knowledge doesn't come from stat sheets. It comes from battle-tested experience. For an Indiana Fever squad still learning how to finish close games and thrive under pressure, BBY brings something rare: championship poise. A cool-headed veteran who's been through the fire and come out stronger, ready to guide a young roster through the toughest tests the WNBA has to offer.
There's somebody, and Stephanie White's looking. Chloe Bibby get in there way before Brianna Turner. I think Turner's still going to be collecting dust. Why we kept her on this team? The optics. Organization can't handle the pushback after releasing Brianna Turner. We got to suck it up. We got to grind it out. We got to let her collect her paycheck and collect that dust. We got to have her keep the bench warm. Dantis's threes aren't hitting. Chloe Bibby, not as tall as Dantis, but if we run a small ball lineup with Natasha Howard at the 5, maybe we do have Chloe Bibby in there. With Michaela Timpson at the 5, maybe we can do that. Maybe we can have Timpson get some more minutes, giving her the 5. Chloe Bibby in there, Sophie Cunningham in there, Lexi Hull or Kelsey Mitchell in there, with Ari McDonald.
Chloe Bibby's value stretches far beyond just a strong mentality or a reliable jump shot. Standing at 6'2", she brings rare versatility to the court, a true Swiss Army knife in Coach Stephanie White's tactical toolbox. She's not simply a shooter. She's a flexible weapon who can plug into multiple roles and disrupt opposing game plans in a variety of ways. In a traditional lineup, she pairs beautifully with Aaliyah Boston, using her range to drag defenders away from the paint and open up space inside. But where things get really interesting is in modern, up-tempo small ball lineups. Picture Bibby at the 4, with someone like Natasha Howard or even Michaela Onyenwe at the 5. That combination forces defenses to stretch thin across the floor, creating endless spacing and driving lanes for guards like Clark. It's a tactical nightmare, and a dream come true for an offense that's been crying out for flexibility. This kind of lineup flexibility isn't just nice to have. It's essential when chasing a championship. It allows the Fever to adjust in real time, to counter any opponent's scheme, and to keep defenses guessing. And that's why Bibby might just be the most impactful mid-season pickup in the league. But this move isn't only about XS and OS, it's about a potential turning point. Bibby is more than a name on a roster. She's an international MVP who built a reputation overseas while staying under the radar back home. She's the player who gave the Fever a live audition by outperforming them. And she's the professional who traveled halfway around the globe to accept a 7-day contract. Knowing it might be her only shot, she has the exact skill set this team needs. The maturity and experience they've been missing. And the quiet, focused hunger to seize her moment. The Fever already have the generational playmaker in Caitlin Clark. They've got the dominant interior presence in Aaliyah Boston. But now, with Chloe Bibby, they may have found the missing piece to complete the puzzle. The question is, will this bold move be the spark that finally ignites a championship run? Or is it a high-stakes gamble that came just a little too late? One thing's for sure, the entire basketball world is watching to find out.